What I wish I knew when I first started lifting. Normally I do vlogs, but today I want to sit here and talk about these things that I wish I knew when I got started, because it would help me get a lot further, a lot faster than I am now, without wasting time on things that don't work, without wasting time chasing the wrong goals, without injuring myself almost constantly. I want to share these things because I feel like it could help out a lot of people and save the time, so then that way you can get closer to your goal, even if your goals are different than mine, a lot faster. The first thing I want to talk about is that weight on the bar isn't everything. Now, if you're trying to be a power lifter, of course you want to have the biggest total as possible, but you want to also make sure that you have excellent technique and feeling good, able to recover enough, and doing a program that is very conducive to that goal. But if you're not trying to be a power lifter, then you really don't need to maximize the weight on the bar. There are things like exercise selection, which is choosing the right exercises for you and your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. And then the next thing you can do is focus on technique, that raw form and technique, and make sure you're executing as good as possible for the way that you're trying to train and the goals that you have. You could also work on different techniques like supersets and drop sets to get more workout volume and get more workload in without doing a ton of weight. Now, of course, it's awesome to lift a bunch of weight. There's no doubt about that. It gives you this raw, cool feeling. There's probably a better word to describe it, but it just feels awesome when you're able to hit a new PR and do all this stuff. But unless you're chasing those PRs and you want to get stronger, you don't really have to. It's not everything. There are so many other things you could focus on instead. And on a very related note, I actually caught that strength bug myself, where I was just trying to get as much weight on the bar as possible, adding 5 pounds each and every week, which I thought was actually doing it slow, where it's only 5 pounds each and every week. If I did that for a year, I'd add 300 pounds to each lift. But that aside, I just wanted to get as strong as possible. So I thought that the key to doing this was to eat as much food as I can. And sometime in 2014, or late 2013, early 2014, I decided to eat 4,000 calories each and every day, every single day, tracked in MyFitnessPal, weighed out my foods, make sure I ate enough junk food to hit that calorie goal. And I did it. I actually did it for about 3 to 4 months. And I also gained about 40 pounds. And guess what happened to my lifts? I didn't actually get as strong as I thought I was going to, and I also didn't build nearly as much muscle as I thought I was going to. And you know, the funny thing is, the whole reason I started was to get in better shape, and then I got hooked on strength training, and then my face blew up, and I got a huge gut again, which just brought me back to the starting point, except for that I was a whole lot stronger. And I did have a little bit more muscle, but nothing too crazy, because I'd only been lifting for a little while at that point, and all that muscle was covered by the fat that I had gained from this ridiculous bulk. So the second thing that I learned was that lean bulking is probably going to be better for you than the dirty bulking, where you're just eating as much as you can. The reason for this is that even though I don't think you really have to bulk if you're just trying to be in good shape, you just kind of have to eat isocaloric, pretty much what your body needs just to maintain the weight that you've lost. But if you really want to grow muscle, the ideal situation to be in to grow muscle is a little bit of extra calories that your body can use to recover, build muscle, do all that kind of fun stuff, which would be stimulated from the training. And then that extra food would go to that recovery process so you can build that muscle. I do want to get bigger. I do want to build muscle. I want to build bigger arms. I want to build bigger chest, shoulders, all the good stuff, all the beach muscles really, and bigger legs too, of course. Can't skip leg day or anything like that. But the point is, it's better to just do it slow, controlled, over time, play the long game, and have that patience anyway. The next thing I wish I knew when I first got started was about the mind-muscle connection. Now, the funny thing is, I've always heard about it. I watched a lot of Nick Wright vlogs and all these different fitness YouTubers back in 2013, 2014. And I heard a lot about this thing called the mind to muscle connection, and it made sense to me. It's yeah, you want to feel the muscle work. Okay, that makes sense. And then I just go put a bunch of weight on the bar and try to get as strong as possible and wonder why I didn't really build a whole lot of muscle. But if you don't know what this is, essentially it's a very simple concept. It's when you're working out, you want to be able to mentally feel the muscle working. So if you're benching, being able to feel the chest work, being able to feel the triceps work, being able to feel the shoulders work as you're doing the lift. And one of the best ways I've found to do this is to simply slow the reps down, because I see it so many times when I was working at a gym as a manager, when I was working there as like a very part-time personal trainer / front desk associate at a different gym. I would see it all the time where people just put the machine on and just rep it out like really quick, and like that works if you just want to burn energy and you just make sure you're doing a little bit more weight over time, a few more reps here and there. It's okay. You can absolutely do fast reps and it can work. But if you want to maximize what you're doing, then slowing the reps down, really feeling it work. And of course, the pressing is the only example anyone ever uses, but you really feel things work. And then when you come back down, you do it nice and slow. Just, I would say, like on the way up a rep, like the positive of a rep, push harder and then slow it down on the negative. You're gonna really feel the target muscle working. Absolutely. It's going to be so much better for feeling it work. You're going to burn it out a little bit better. You're going to break it down a little bit better so that when you rest, recover, and eat well, you're going to build a little bit more muscle. And it's not going to be a night and day difference. It won't. It's not going to be like you just start doing this and you start blowing up muscle and everything like that. No, it's going to take a long time either way, but it is just like scientifically a little bit better to do it that way. But also it keeps you safer longer. Like one thing nobody really talks about is like injury prevention, and keeping the reps slow, keeping them controlled. You're going to be a lot less likely to throw your shoulder out if you're taking the weight down very slow and controlled. Compared to that, to the jerking motion like that, yeah, you're probably going to injure yourself. One bad rep, you're going to throw your shoulder right off your body, just for the sake of example. So keeping it slow and controlled is absolutely a magical tool to get that mind to muscle connection first off, so you can really feel the muscle work, but also keep you safer and keep you in the game longer. There have been so many times where I had to take like a week off or 2 weeks off, up to 4 months off to recover a shoulder injury, just because I was being a moron and not training smartly and keeping things slow and controlled. And if I didn't do that, I'd be so much further along. And that's why I wish I knew this in the beginning. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is something I didn't accept until very recently. And for the longest time, I thought pretty much the only way to train was barbells, maybe a little bit of dumbbells and cables, and then that's pretty much it. But what I've come to realize, especially recently, is that machines can be incredibly useful tools. They're super, super good if you get the right machines. There are a lot of machines out there that are not very good. There's ones that you can't really get a good stretch and a full range of motion, and it's just not ideal. But there are some out there, especially like the Hammer Strength, MTS, plate loaded selector machines. Those have been incredibly good for me, especially recently, for all of what I had just said, like the range of motion and the stretch and all that kind of good stuff. And I think the biggest reason I was so held back from using machines as a useful tool for training is that everything I was watching was like powerlifting based. I wanted to get as strong as possible, so why would I ever use a machine if I'm trying to do better at like a squat or a deadlift? Like, it didn't make sense to me. Leg press was kind of a meme more than anything, even though that's actually a pretty good exercise. You just really won't catch me doing it because I don't like it, but that's a different story. But I never really appreciated machines for how good they could be, and I just kind of use them as an accessory thing. But now that I've been doing like the chest press machine or the row machine or the pull down machine, I feel like I've been getting a lot better results from that compared to just grinding out bench press week after week and then getting caught in that strength trap. That'd be kind of crazy to see like a 1 rep max on like a chest press machine or a shoulder press machine. Like, seems a little bit ridiculous. Contrast that to like a barbell overhead press or a bench press. You see people doing 1 rep maxes on that all the time. Either way, machines are an excellent tool for building muscle and staying healthy. And you don't have to use a barbell. You can absolutely use a machine. You could use a dumbbell. You could use cables. You could do body weight. It doesn't really matter. You got to do what you like. And just as long as you're trying to get better over time, all the tools have their use. So use them, find out what you like, and then don't do what you don't like, because you don't have to. No one's telling you have to train a certain way except for you. And I kind of dipped into my last thing that I wish I knew when I got started, which is training tailored to your goal. And this is where I want to talk about how my goals have shifted. When I first started training, I was working a part-time job, didn't really have anything else going on. I could really just work, train, eat, hang out with friends every so often, and that was it. And that happened for years. And then fast forward to 2019, I had met my now wife, Martha, and we really just hit it off, and we'd actually go to the gym together, and I was teaching her how to do squats and deadlifts and overhead press, and it was a really cool time. But I wasn't taking training to the level that I was before because I was working a very full-time job selling cars, and the only reason I was able to really consistently lift weights at that point is because there was an actual gym inside the dealership that I could work out at the end of a shift, or like on a really slow day where I've done all my calls and everything for the day, so I can just go ahead and get a quick workout in. And then of course I would train on my days off too, but that really shifted my priorities in terms of training from being essentially consumed by working out, and everything I did was working out and watching workout videos back then, to now kind of taking the rest of my life more seriously, focusing on making money, building a career. And then now fast forward today, we are about to have our second daughter, and my entire mentality has changed completely around training, which is probably why I'm thinking machines are better than they used to be, because I just want to stay healthy. I want to be able to stay strong. I want to be there for my wife, for my daughters, and be able to like lift them up and throw them in the air. More talking about my daughters, but I guess I could throw my wife in the air too if she wanted to. Maybe I'll have to ask her about that. But my point here is my priorities have shifted, so my training style has shifted along with it. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to try to get strong. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to try to get back to a 405 plus deadlift and a 315 squat, and maybe even throw benching back into the mix, and completely throwing away the barbell overhead press because it really just doesn't agree with my neck, of all things to not agree with. But it's definitely not going to be my focus, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time and effort on that compared to spending a whole lot of time and effort on the things that we talked about today, like focusing on technique, like doing slow bulks, or even not even bulking at all and just eating isocalorically, focusing on that mind to muscle connection, truly accepting that machines are okay to use as well as any other type of equipment that you want, and making sure that training is tailored towards my specific goals and not anyone else's, because I have control of this and you have control of your training. So you want to make sure you build it accordingly. So what's your current fitness goal? What are you working on right now? And which one of these tips do you find to be the most helpful? Let me know in the comment section below. And also, if you liked the video, make sure to give the video a like, because that makes sense. If you like it, click the like button. Also, head over to gainswithgabe.com for my free daily newsletter, programs, and coaching. Those last two aren't free. And also on the end screen, there's gonna be 2 videos that pop up. Check out another one if you want. They're more vlog style. So that's all I got for now. Thanks so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time.